Hello. Hi, Siddharth.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Siddharth. Okay, I'm waiting for
Yes, sir.
Kirtana to join. Okay, give me a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
So, had your breakfast?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how's your Sunday going?
Sir, it's going well, sir.
Okay, great, great. How's Chennai?
It's hot, sir. It's very hot.
Okay, what about Mr. Joseph Vijay? Has he sworn in as
Yes, sir.
CM?
Yes, sir. Here, I think the swearing is completed. I think it was supposed to be at 10 o'clock today. I think he's sworn in.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. Okay, so what do you think? Like, is Joseph Vijay the right person to like take over?
I don't think so, but
Okay. So
is
it's
I
not like
don't
that,
think
you know, like so we
it's
cannot judge anybody, right? So
yeah. No, I just feel that he doesn't have that much experience in politics to this. Like,
that is
he's-
true, but you know, like if he has the will, okay, if he wants to serve people, right,
yeah,
he will definitely do it. Okay, so we never know like what are his
yeah,
expectations. Like, has he
yes.
come to make some money, or like with a motive to serve people? That we do not know. Okay, so if he wants to serve people, definitely he'll serve people. Okay,
Yeah,
but to what best extent he can do, that we're not sure. Okay,
yeah.
so we have to wait and watch. Okay, so anything from yesterday's meeting? Like, do you have any doubts?
Uh, no, sir. I just waiting to watch the recordings.
Sure, sure.
You told me you will send it and the like after the
Yes,
completion of this week.
yeah, yeah. I will do it right away after this call, or maybe in the evening.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So you take a look, and I will give you the assignment work as I told you, right? So data collection activity. So that's
Yeah,
going to be an activity. So please work on that. Okay. So you said like you're feeling like since you have Python in your curriculum and you're learning it, correct? So you said
yeah.
like you're having some difficulties to learn, correct? So
Uh,
where is the difficulty? Like how? Why are you feeling it difficult?
Sir, like to be completely honest, I never really paid attention in the Python classes and and I felt that like what they are teaching is somewhat like German or French because what the, like they don't give notes. What they just tell in class, we just have to like remember that and write that in our exam and in our textbook also. Python has not been given properly, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mainly focused on the AI and it's not focusing on Python. So I felt it was very hard Python.
Okay. See, Python is just a communication language, correct?
Yeah,
See, if you want to go and talk somewhere, right? So it's not that you'll have to master your English. Okay, you'll have to master the topic that you're going to talk in front of
yeah,
the audience. Okay, it is just like that. See, AI is the core. Okay, and Python is just supporting AI. Correct. So it is not mastering Python. So see, nowadays you have a lot of support. Correct. So you have Chat GPT and Claude, all these things to
mhm,
support you. Okay, so you don't have to code explicitly or like extensively. So they will help you out. Okay, so this is the age of vibe coding, right? So non-technical people also write code. Okay, they also develop applications. Correct. So
yeah,
it's not that difficult also. Okay, so thing is like you just need to understand how the coding works. Okay, so if you look at a particular implementation or like let's say a program, right? So you will basically understand how the flow is. Okay, so things will get difficult if you are working on Java or C or C++. Okay, it is difficult to understand, but Python is very easy. Okay, so you don't have to feel like it is difficult and I cannot code or something. See, it's just like if you want to do something, go and ask Chat GPT, it will do that. Okay, and you should be in a position to manipulate that according to your expectations or your requirements. Okay, that is the only ask. Okay, so even I don't go and code explicitly, right? So I use vibe coding. Sometimes I do code myself. So that depends upon different scenarios, requirements, all these things. Okay, and since like you are in a school setup, right? In school they cannot teach everything. Okay, so if they are teaching something on AI, okay, so they cannot teach upfront Python. Okay, Python extensively. Something with respect to Python they will teach you. Okay, and like since you're just 15 years old, right? So it is difficult for you to understand all these coding logics and different things. Okay, so it will take time, but it's not a big deal, right? So anyways, so you will have some understanding here as well. So again, I'm not going to go deep into Python because like that is just 5% of what we are doing. Okay, so
Yeah.
whatever we do later, okay, that is what is the actual, like, actual thing, that gives you the like, it fulfills your objective. Okay, so Python is just supporting you in all these things. So don't worry, it's we can manage all these things.
Okay.
Okay, so let me check with Kirtana. Okay, so give me a minute, let me call her and see. If not, I will start. Okay, let her join. Okay, Siddharth, I think we can start. I'm
Yes, sir.
sharing my screen first. Okay, so okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so before I jump into this session, okay, I would like to understand, like, how are you feeling about this training program? Like, do you feel like I'm going in the right way slowly?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir. It is helping me, sir.
okay, fine. So do you have any pain points, or like, do you have any difficulties understanding something and you want me to repeat, or like,
No, sir. Not,
are there,
no.
okay, so are there areas like where I can improve?
Uh, uh, I don't. I don't think so. Uh, I'm feeling comfortable. Like where I am right now.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so this is a good feedback, like, so if you uh, give me some negative feedbacks also, right? So I can improve on all those areas. So that is why I asked you specifically, like, if you're struggling in any particular area, I can definitely help you out. Okay, so no worries. uh, That's a good sign, right? You're able to grasp all the things that is being taught here in the classes. Okay, no worries. So in yesterday's session, like we saw how to collect data, right? So do you want me to go back to the Google Forms and explain you like briefly like how it is done once more, or like are you comfortable?
Sir, I'm comfortable, sir. I think
Okay,
I'm
so that is fine then. Okay, so we saw what is Python, correct? So Python is just a language that is used to talk to computers. Okay, so if you go and like let's say like you have a friend and you want to talk to your friend. Okay, you can talk to your friend in any of the languages. Okay, either the language that you both are using in common, or you speak in English and your friend tries to respond back in whatever way. Okay, so basically, if you want to establish a communication, right? So there has to be a request. Okay, so in the sense like when you want your friend to do some specific things for you. Okay, so there is a request from your end and your friend will respond. Okay, so in a similar way, right? So you have computers. Okay, you want some interaction with the computers. That means you're trying to establish a communication with the computers. Okay, so you want the computers to do some specific task. Okay, it can be any specific task. Okay, let's say like you want the computer to add two numbers, some large numbers, or multiply two large numbers. The computer will do that for you. Okay, but for that there has to be a request from your end. You'll have to tell what are the two numbers that you want the computer to add. Okay, you'll have to give input. The computer will receive the input from you and it will perform the addition or multiplication, and it will give you the result. Okay, so this you can do only with programming languages. Okay, so when you talk to computers, you're not talking in natural language, you're talking with the help of machine codes. Okay, whatever you write, so that will be ultimately converted to machine codes. Okay, so behind the scene there is something called as compiler, which will translate all your written instructions into machine code, and the machine will understand those machine codes. Okay, so machine codes are nothing but like numbers. The computers understands numbers. Okay, the program whatever you write, that will be converted to numbers, and it will do the uh, addition or multiplication for you, and it will give you the results. So if you have to do this, then you'll have to use Python. So Python here essentially is a language for communication. There is a request and the system response. Okay, now why do you need Python for AI specifically? Okay, Python is very simple to understand. It means it follows English. Okay, it has English like statements. Okay, so if it is simple, then it really helps you. Okay, some of the other programming languages like Java, C, C++, all these are difficult to understand. Okay, their syntax is a bit difficult, but Python is really simple. Anybody can code, write instructions in Python. It is powerful. So when you say powerful, it has got a lot of functionalities. It has got a lot of libraries. So libraries are inbuilt functions which you can use and you can achieve your task. Okay, so in that respect, Python is very powerful and it is used everywhere because of its simplicity and its robustness. Okay, so that is why it is also used for building AI solutions or AI products or whatever you call it. Okay, Okay. So now we will see
Yes, sir.
how to write a simple hello world program in Python. Okay. So whenever you start writing any program or any instructions, you want first to test how it works. Correct. So if that is your objective, then you go and write a program called as hello world. Okay. Generally people will do this. Okay. They will try to understand how the code works. Okay. How the output is displayed on the screen, how communication is established with a computer. Okay, so if that is the case, you go and write a simple hello world program. Okay, so how do you write a simple hello world program? Okay, so this, as I told you yesterday also, this is Google Cloud. Okay, so this notebook file that you are seeing, it resides in Google Cloud. If you want Python, okay, so Python is a runtime, right? So which takes your instructions, processes your instruction, and gives the output. So there are different ways you can use Python. Okay, so you can download Python into your local system and you can use it. Okay, so you have IDLE, ID, all these things, right? So through IDLE, you can launch Python and you can start writing Python programs. Okay, that is one method. Second method is you don't have to install anything. Python comes inbuilt in these clouds. Okay, so when you say cloud, cloud is something virtual which you cannot see. Okay, so there are also systems, but these systems reside in a place which you don't know where these systems exist. Okay, these are systems which are at unknown places. Okay, they give you access. Okay, so you can access Python even in cloud. Okay, so one of the method of accessing Python in cloud is through the Google platform. Okay, Google gives you a platform called as Google Colab. Okay, so you can launch Google Colab and you can start writing your Python programs in Google Colab. Okay, so how to get started with Google Colab? Okay, so you go and type Google Colab in your Google search. Open this first link. Okay, so when you open this first link, you will see an interface like this. Okay, so I don't know, like by default, you might see some of the default programs
Sir,
on your right hand side.
sir, should I should open this in my computer, right?
No, you don't have to do that. Okay, so what you can do, you can practice this separately. Okay, I will send you this notebook file. Okay, so you don't have to do this parallelly because like we don't have time. Okay, and like since we don't have time, we'll not be able to do this parallelly. Okay, what I will do, I will explain you about all these programs, how they are written, what are the functions, etc., etc., syntaxes, etc., etc. You can go and try it yourself later. Okay, I will send you the notebook file. You can take it as reference and you can work on it. Okay, so you don't have to do this parallelly. Okay, so open this Google Colab. You will see this interface. So by default, you might see some of the default programs that is already written, or you may not see anything. Okay, so if you see this, welcome to Colab. So if you open this notebook, okay, so there are some notebook files already existing here. Okay, so if you see data science, okay, so if you click on data science, it has some programs already written here. Okay, so it has some graphs, some explanations, all these things. If you want to learn machine learning, if you want to learn machine learning, okay, these there is a tutorial on machine learning. Okay, so by default, you can launch this notebook. If not, one second. Okay, so if you want to write a program by yourself, okay, you can see new notebook at the bottom. Okay, click on this. So if you click on this new notebook, okay, a new notebook will open. Okay, so here I have written few instructions. You will see a blank notebook, and you can start writing your programs here. Okay, so if you see this notebook file, okay, it has something called as a cell. Okay, so let me open a new notebook and show you. Okay, so when you click on new notebook on the interface that you see, it will open a new notebook like this for you. Okay, you can start coding here. Okay, so this is called as a cell where you write your instructions or syntaxes or your program. Okay, and there is an arrow here. If you click on the arrow, the instruction that you have written here, that will get executed and you will see the output. Okay, and you can also have, this is a code cell, okay, where you write your instruction. You can also have a text cell. Okay, so on top you see text. If you click on text, you can write any text here. Okay, let's say like you want to uh, write, give a title to this particular program. Okay, let's say like you say hello world. Okay, you can type hello world. Okay, and you can say print hello world. Okay, so if you say print, okay, so whatever you give within the brackets, that will be printed on the screen. Okay, so this is how you start with any Python program. Okay, then click on this particular arrow. Okay, one second, it is executing. Okay, you see the result, you see the output. It says hello world. So whatever you give within the parenthesis or the brackets, it is going to print you that. Okay, so if you want to print something on the screen, you use this print keyword. Okay, so if you hover over this particular keyword, it tells you what print is. Okay, so this is your first program. Okay, so I have written this here, same program here, print in the brackets hello AI world. Okay, so if you execute this, it will say hello AI world. Okay, this is your first program. So second program, we will see what are variables. Okay, so basically you are working with a lot of information. Okay, so when you write a program, like you might work with different information. Let's say like you are working with numbers. Okay, so when you are working with the numbers, right? So you'll have to store it somewhere. So when you store this somewhere, okay, it acts like a memory. It acts like a container from which you can take out whatever you have stored and pre-process that, process that. Okay, so it's a container that stores information. Okay, just like your, so let's say like you want to take bath. Okay, so if you want to take bath, okay, what you do, go to bathroom and you open the tap. Okay, so when you open the tap, there is a bucket which fetches water. Okay, so you fetch water in this bucket and then you take bath. Okay, you utilize the water from the bucket and you take bath. So if you want to take bath, you'll have to have water stored somewhere, right? So you cannot use the running water. Okay, you don't like you don't sit beside the tap or you don't stand beside the tap and take bath. Okay, so you use bucket and you store this water in the bucket. You take out the water and you take bath. Okay, that means there needs to be a storage place. Okay, so that storage place here in Python is called as a variable. Okay, so in variable you store information. If you want to use that particular variable in your program at any point in time, okay, you can access that particular variable and you can use that. Okay, so think a variable like a labeled box. Okay, so let's say like you have different books in your home or in your room. Okay, so you store it in a shelf. Okay, so when you store it in a shelf, right, so you can store it in specific boxes. Okay, and each of these boxes labeled. Okay, for example, you can say you can have a labeled box for all comic related books. Okay, and you can have a labeled box for some other category of books. So likewise you will have different boxes, each of them labeled, and when you have each of these boxes labeled, okay, you can pick up the book that you want and you can read the book. Okay, so if all these things are scattered, then it is difficult for you to pick up the book that you want, and you may not even get the book ultimately at the end if these books are scattered in the shelf. Okay, so you are arranging this, you are storing this somewhere. Okay, so if there is a storage, you go to that particular storage, you pick up and you read the book. Okay, so exactly the variable acts that way. Okay, so it's like a storage container. You pick up whatever information is stored within this particular container, you use this. Okay, example, box labeled name, box labeled age. Okay, variable name, variable has a name called as variable called as name, variable called as age. So variable called name will store your name, variable called age will store your age. Okay, so we will see how variables are set up. Okay, so second program, variables. So I said variables are just like a container. Okay, so if you want to store your name, okay, so you say name is equal to Rahul. Okay, you type name is equal to Rahul. Okay, so Rahul should be within double quotes. Okay, so all these text or all these string values, okay, should be in text. Number need not be in quotes. Sorry, not text. These text values should be within quotes, double quotes. Okay, the number values, numeric values need not be in quotes. Okay, so whenever you are storing like a string value, a text value, you give it in double quotes. Okay, so name is one variable. Okay, you say name is equal to Rahul within double quotes and age is equal to 15. Okay, so now when you use this print statement and say, okay, within double quotes, my name is, and you give the variable name where you have stored the name, it is going to print my name is Rahul. Okay, that means this is something we are hard coding. Okay, so whatever we are stored in this particular variable, we are taking out that and we are adding that to the hard coded text here. Okay, so we are saying my name is, okay, so that is one particular sentence that you are having. To this you are adding whatever is stored in this variable called name. Okay, so when you say print, it is going to print you my name is Rahul, because Rahul is stored within this variable. Okay, so whatever is there within this particular variable called name, it is going to print that. Okay, for example, if I execute this, it is saying my name is Rahul. Okay, so now let's say instead of Rahul, I'm storing Siddharth. Okay, so now it will print my name is Siddharth. Okay, so that means variable acts like a container. So from this container, you're picking up whatever you have stored and then you're displaying that. Okay, so it is just not you use this in print statement. Even if you want to pre-process this, let's say like you want to break this name into like you want each and every character of this particular name. Okay, you can do that. So basically, whatever is stored within this variable, that can be processed. Okay, so now you're using this name called Siddharth and you're printing that. Okay, so I can here within the print, okay, I say my name is, okay, and I say my name is colon, right? So I don't want to use colon. Okay, so I'm removing that. If I remove colon, okay, in my print I don't get that colon, because whatever I have specified here within the double quotes, okay, that is what is going to come in the output. Okay, so you can give whatever you want. Okay, if you want to use a dash and if you want to say my name is Siddharth, okay, you can say. Same way, you can print your age also. Okay, so you say print I am colon comma age years old. So this is a hard coded text. Okay, so which you are hard coding, you are giving. Okay, this is not stored in any variable. Okay, so if you want to store this in a variable, that's fine. Okay, you can store this, but this is not required. Okay, so this is not an information that is like which is useful. Okay, so this you can hard code. This is not an information that is used across the program. Age is something which you use across the program, you pre-process it. Okay, so whatever. Okay, so you can say I am within double quotes. Okay, so here I have given colon, so if you want colon you can have colon, and if you want to remove colon, that's also fine. Okay, so I am saying I am age, you are given 15. So when you're trying to print this particular statement, it will say I am 15 years old. Okay, so now let me print this. Okay, it says I am 15 years old. Let me remove the colon. It says I am 15 years old. Okay, or here if you want to change this to YRS, 15 years old. Yes, it immediately it replaces years with YRS. Okay, and it gives you the result. Okay, so this is something called as variable where you store information. Third program, input from the user. Okay, so when you want some kind of interactivity, okay, so right now you're printing something on the screen. Now let's say like the program is asking you for some input. Okay, it is requesting some details from you. Okay, and you interact with it. Now there is no interaction. Okay, so when you interact with the program, it gets more interesting. Okay, so how do you interact? You use some keywords. Okay, so input brackets, that is taking your input. So whatever input you want to give, you can use this information within the input keyword. Okay, and it takes that particular input from you and it acts based on the input. Okay, so examples, if you see Chat GPT, Google Assistant, they take input from you, right? So in Chat GPT, you see a prompt. Okay, you see a what do you say, like a place where you can enter your prompt. Okay, so that prompt will act as the input. Okay, so it is basically a text input where you type in what is that you want to what you want the system to do. Okay, based on which it acts. Okay, same way in Python here you can give input to the system based on which the machine will act. Okay, or the program will act. Okay, so Google Assistant, you have voice input. So if you say like turn on all the lights in the room, okay, then your Google Assistant is going to take your input. It is going to act based on your command, and it is going to turn on all the lights within the room, right? So there has to be an input if you want to interact with any of the system. Okay, so let's see that. So I have the third program, input from the user. Okay, so first declare a variable. Okay, so earlier you entered your name directly here, right? So you said Rahul or Siddharth or whatever. Now you want the machine to take an input. Okay, instead of you hard coding the value, you giving what is the name directly. Okay, you make it interactive. Okay, so if you want to make it interactive, you use this keyword called as input. Okay, that means this machine or this piece of program will take input from you, and based on the input the machine is going to act. Okay, so in the last program whatever we saw, okay, name is equal to Rahul. So if you say name is equal to Rahul, okay, and you say print name, okay, so it is always going to print Rahul. Okay, but if you say input in brackets enter your name, okay, the name can be anything. Okay, so if you want to change the name from Rahul to Siddharth in the program that we saw earlier, okay, so you'll have to go and modify. You'll have to say Siddharth in place of Rahul. Okay, manually you're going to go and type there in the program. Okay, so here input, okay, is going to take some input from you. Okay, that is going to happen on the screen. On the screen you are going to enter the names here based on which the machine is going to act. Okay, so the end user, okay, who is using the result, okay, he is not going to modify the program. He's not going to enter different names in the backend saying that give the result like this. Okay, he is something who is working on the front end, okay, on the interface, and he wants to see the result based on whatever he wants, uh, on like whatever input he gives. Okay, so when that is the case, he's not going to go and modify the code. Okay, so I can do like this. Okay, so what I'm saying, if you see this particular program, I can say instead of Siddharth I can say Rahul. So each time I want the machine to print some name, I will have to go and modify here. I have to go and change here. I can say Rahul. I can say Mark. Okay. So each time I'm going and doing this in the backend. So if somebody who is using your application, using this program, they will not have access to your code. Okay. They cannot go and change it here. So if that is the case, then you use this input, okay, which becomes interactive, and they will have, okay, so end user who is using your application, they will have a choice to enter an input of their choice. Okay, it will take whatever input they give. Okay, so if they say Rahul is going to come in, Rahul is going to come and get stored in this particular variable called name. If they enter Siddharth is going to come and get stored in this particular variable. Okay, so the end user is not going to go and modify the code in the backend. Okay, if you want it, or the objective is like this, Okay, so then you use this particular keyword called as input, where the user can interact. He can provide his input. Based on the input, the system is going to act. Okay, now you see this, enter your name comes in the output screen. Okay, this is input. Okay, so this is the source code where you are doing something. So this happens something on the screen. Okay, it is not happening in the back end. This is happening in the front end. So in the front end, you are trying to enter. Okay, so when you say Rahul and enter, it will say Rahul. Okay, now you want to say Siddharth. You go and enter Siddharth here. One second. Okay, you say Siddharth here. Okay, so whatever you enter on the screen, that will be taken as input. That will go and get stored in the memory or the variable, and that will be printed on the screen. Okay, instead of going and modifying the variable each time. Okay, so you give an input in the screen. From the screen, the variable gets populated and you have the result based on that particular variable, uh, whatever the variable storing. Okay, so this is taking input from the user. Fourth program, okay, some logic. You're going to write some logic. So what is logic? Okay, so logic is something based on which decision can be made. Okay, for example, let's say like it is raining today. So if it is raining today, okay, you may go out or you may not go out. So if you decide to go out, then you will take an umbrella. Okay, so there is a condition here, right? So if it is raining, then take umbrella. If it is not raining, you don't take any umbrella. Okay, you just walk. Okay, uh, there is no necessity of umbrella when it is not raining. Okay, so there is a logic here. So same way, if you want to implement some logic programmatically, then how do you do it? Okay, so let's see that as well. Let's say marks is equal to 80. Okay, so you're going to give an input saying that marks is marks scored by particular marks scored by a particular student in any of the examination or any of the subject is 80. Now based on this particular marks that the student has scored, you want to write some logic. If this is greater than 35, then print pass. Okay, if the marks scored is greater than 35, then sorry, less than 35, then fail. If the marks is greater than 35, then you say pass. Okay, so this is the logic that you are writing. Okay, now what is the uh, like how are you writing this logic? You are writing this logic based on the marks scored in the examination. Okay, so you say marks is equal to 80, and if you want to write this logic, you say if marks greater than or equal to 35, then print pass. Okay, that means whenever the marks whatever you have given here, okay, so that is greater than 35, then the machine will say or the system will say pass. Okay, whenever that particular input whatever you have given here, whatever is stored in the variable called marks, that is uh, less than 35. Okay, so sorry, less than 35 fail, greater than 35 it is going to say a pass. Okay, so that is the logic you are writing. So if you want to write a logic like this, then this is how you write. Okay, if marks greater than or equal to 35, print pass, else print fail. Okay, so now let's say I'm giving marks is 80. So let me say 33 or something. Okay, so when the marks is equal to 33, it should say fail. Okay, so whatever you put here, whatever you enter here, okay, that will be validated, that will be checked. Okay, So now 33 is there within this particular variable called marks. Okay, so condition will be checked. Is 33 greater or equal to 35? No. Okay, so the condition is not satisfied. Then it will not execute this particular statement. Okay, if the condition is satisfied, then it will go to this particular uh, sentence or syntax. It will print whatever is there within this. Okay, now 33 is lesser than 35. Okay, then this condition is not satisfied. It will go to this condition. It will say fail. Okay, so here we said 80. So when we said 80, the variable is going to have 80. So if 80 is greater than or equal to 35, okay, you're checking that condition. Yes, 80 is greater than or equal to 35. Okay, the condition is satisfied. So if the condition is satisfied, whatever is there within this particular condition, that will be printed. This will be ignored. Okay, because the condition which is true, okay, that is going to be taken into account. The condition which is false, that is not going to be taken into account. So in this case, this is the condition which is true, correct? So 80 is greater than or equal to 35, then you say print pass. Okay, now the machine is going to say pass. Okay, so let's say like we want to give this as input. Okay, now let's say I'm going to give 45. Okay, it says greater than or equal to not supported between instance of string and int. Okay, so maybe it is not taking. No worries. Okay, so this is just to show you how logically things work. Okay, so this is your fourth program. Then let's say like you want to do some simple classification. Okay, so classification we already saw, right? Classification means putting things into different categories. So if you have different fruits, okay, from the farm, okay, everything is mixed together. So you group it. Okay, so let's say like you have a basket for orange, basket for apple, and different fruits. Okay, you collect all the fruits that are similar and you put it into basket. So essentially you are grouping the fruits together. Essentially you are classifying the fruit into different categories and you are grouping it. Okay, so that is classification. So real life examples, you can group or you can classify fruits, you can classify animals. Okay, you can classify emails or movie genres. Okay, so whatever you want to do, you can do. So how this is done programmatically. Okay, so let's say you are going to input any of the color. Okay, so let's say like this is an uh, input variable. Okay, where you'll have to input the color. Okay, so it's not a standard input. It's an here like you have an interaction. So whatever input you give on the screen, that will be stored in this variable called as color. So you directly you're not storing. It is through interaction that you're storing this. You're storing this particular variable called color. Okay, so enter the color. Now you're writing a logic. If color is equal to red, then you print apple. Okay, if the color is having a value called yellow, then you say print banana. Else you say unknown fruit. Okay, so that means whatever color value you enter here, that will be matched against this condition. Okay, so this variable holds some value. Okay, whatever it holds, that will be compared against some value here. If this particular condition is matching, then you say apple. If that particular condition is not matching, Okay, then you say yellow. If these two conditions are not matching, then you say print unknown fruit. Okay, so now let's say like how this works. Enter color. Okay, I'm saying red. So if you say red, then it should say apple, because red gets stored in this variable called color. Okay, red will be compared against this variable, red, whatever you are given here. So red is equal to red, right? So then this condition is satisfied. It will say apple. Enter. So it is going to say apple. Now let me rerun this. So now I'm saying yellow. So when I say yellow, yellow gets stored in this variable. Okay. So now when yellow gets stored in this variable, first condition will be executed. Okay, it will try to match this condition. So yellow is equal to red. Okay, it is going to check this condition. Is yellow equal to red? No, this is not equal to red. Yellow is a different value, red is a different value. This condition is not matching. Then it will go to the next condition. It is going to check, is yellow equal to yellow? Yes, this condition is satisfied. So whatever is there below that, it is going to print that. So here you say banana. Okay, so the result is going to be banana. Okay, so it says banana. Now let me say color, let me give some other value of color. Okay, so let me say blue. Okay, it says unknown fruit. Okay, so color is going to store a value of blue. First condition will be checked. Is blue equal to red? No, this condition is not satisfied. Is blue equal to yellow? No, this condition is not satisfied. Okay, else you say unknown fruit. Okay, if these two condition is not satisfied, then you have to say unknown fruit, because that is the only option left, right? If it is not apple, if it is not banana, then it is something else. Okay, so that is what you are trying to do here. So if you want to do this programmatically, this is how you do. Okay, so if you want to do this the machine learning way, then you teach the machine. Okay, you give the um, information to the machine, and the machine will understand. It will figure out the pattern. You're not going to write an instruction like this. Maybe if it writes the instruction, it is going to write the instruction by itself. Okay, so you're just going to give the data. This is with respect to simple classification. Now list. Okay, so what's a list? So what do you understand by a list, Siddharth? Do you have any idea?
So, list is a collection of a lot of uh, like a lot of items, a lot of variables, a lot of values.
Okay, okay, fine. So why do you need a list?
Uh, so I'm not sure.
Okay, fine. So as you said, list is collection of different values. Yes. So when you are working with a single value, okay, so here if you see, you are just working with single value of a color, right? So input is going to be either red, blue, or yellow. Okay, there is only one single input. Okay, so when you have just one single input, okay, you don't need a list. When you have multiple things, okay, and you want each of the item in the list to be taken into account and processing to be done, then this is applicable. Okay, so when you just have one single value, then you may not need a list. When there are multiple values and all these values needs to be taken into account and processing has to be done, then you need a list. Okay, so list is just one data structure. You store these information or these values in a list. Okay, like this, you can store this or store these values in dictionaries or arrays or whatever. Okay, there are different data structures. So one is list. Okay, so list is going to basically store multiple values. So if you see here, fruits is the variable name, and this fruit is going to store multiple values. Earlier we just stored one particular value. Okay, the value could be your name, it could be your age. Now you have multiple multiple values of fruits here. Okay, you want this variable to store apple, you want this variable to store banana as well, you want this variable to store mango as well. Okay, so what it will do, it will use this variable, it will make partitions. Okay, and it is going to store in each of the partition whatever values you have listed here. Okay, so in one partition it is going to store apple, in one partition it is going to store banana, in one partition it is going to store mango. Okay, so when you say fruits, when you say print fruits, it is going to store whatever is stored within this partition. Okay, so earlier the variable was taking just one particular value. Now it is taking multiple values. So when you want to use multiple values and do the processing, and uh, if your objective is that, then you are going to use a data structure like this. Okay, so here you are using a list. Okay, so then we will go to loops. So what's a loop?
Uh, Sir, like loop is like uh, um, sir, I'm not sure again.
Okay, so have you like, do you use Spotify or
Yeah.
YouTube Music? So
Yeah.
some you see something, an option called as loop, right? So what does loop mean
I
there?
think in this example, the song will be repeating again and again.
Okay, so if you have 5 songs within a playlist, right? So after one song gets over, second song will be played. So after second song, third song, after third song, fourth song, after fourth song, fifth song. So after fifth song, okay, it is not going to stop. It is going to go back to the first song. It is going to play that. Okay. So likewise, it is going to repeat n number of times. Okay, so if you want a functionality where some particular thing has to be repeated, then you have to put this in a loop. Okay, so here in this particular example, you have a variable called as fruits. Okay, and within this variable, you are storing values like apple, banana, and mango. Okay, now you want to take each of the element within this list and do something. Okay, so if that is the case, then what do? You put this in a loop. If you see here, okay, in this particular example also, okay, where we did a simple classification. Okay, so here also we can use a loop. Okay, if color is equal to red, then print, else if color is equal to yellow. Okay, so it is checking each condition, so then it goes back to this. But here there is just one value, right? So if you have one value, then okay, loops does not come into picture, because if you have multiple values, each value has to run through this loop, each value has to be checked against this condition, and it has to be given the right result. Okay, so when that is our objective, then we do like this. Okay, so you have the variable, and within the variable you have apple, banana, and mango. Now we are saying for fruits, in fruits, print fruit. Okay, that means this is the variable. Sorry, yes. So fruits is the variable where you are storing apple, banana, and mango. Okay, now you are saying for fruit in fruits, that means each of the element in this particular fruit. Okay, So when you are running through a loop, each time you'll have to store the element in one particular variable. Now the first time what it will do, it will create a variable called as fruit. In the first in this variable it will store apple first. Okay, so then whatever is there within this particular fruit, okay, it is going to print that. So the first time you have apple, this variable fruit is going to store apple first. Okay, then apple will be printed first. Okay, then banana will be stored in this particular variable called fruit. Next, banana will be printed. Third time, mango will be stored in this fruit, and mango will be ultimately printed at the last. Okay, so this will continue for all the elements within this list. Okay, until the list goes on. Okay, let's say like I'm going to add one more. I'm going to say orange. Okay, I'm going to add one more. I'm going to say grapes. Now it has to print all the fruits within this list. Okay, first it is going to store apple. You have one variable called as fruits which will store all the values. Next, you have a variable called as fruit. It is going to store values from this variable individually. Okay, that means fruit, this particular variable called as fruits, has 5 partitions. In each of the partition, you have some values. The first partition is apple, second partition is banana, third partition is mango, fourth partition is orange, and fifth partition is grapes. Okay. Next, you declare a variable called as fruit that will take each and every partition values. Okay. So first partition value is apple. So apple is going to be stored in this variable called fruit. Okay. That will be printed. Okay. Next, banana will be taken. Um, sorry, this fruit is going to take the value banana, and banana is going to be printed. Then mango, then orange, grapes. Okay. So when you execute this, it is going to print all the elements within this list. Okay, that means it is checking each and every element. Okay, storing that and printing that. Okay, so it is as simple as that. Okay, so 1 second, I don't know, like it is taking time. Okay, Siddharth. Okay, so what I will do, I'm going to stop here. I don't want to rush because like Kirtana is not there, and she has to understand all these as well. So I will make sure that I don't rush, and we will continue this on the Tuesday. Okay. So Tuesday, 11 o'clock, we'll continue and we will see the further examples. So then we are going to do the data collection activity and data pre-processing uh, programmatically. Okay. So we saw how to collect data uh, using the manual way, that is using Google Forms. Now we are going to do this programmatically. Okay, so that we will see in Tuesday's class. Okay, so do you have any doubts with respect to whatever we discussed today?
Uh, Sir, I don't have doubts, sir, but uh, uh, I did find the like Python little difficult. I think I have to go through the
Yes.
recording.
Yes, so it is not difficult as I told you earlier also, right? So you can understand. Okay, so if I didn't teach you this, okay, I just told you fruits is equal to apple, banana, mango, orange, grapes. So it is easier for you to understand, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so without me explaining. You understand what is written
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is that simple. So you don't have to feel this difficult. Okay. So maybe like you'll have to understand what's this. If I give you this program, at least you know the logic behind, but
Mm.
you may not know this is a list. Okay. So list, whatever values you have, you store this within square brackets. So there are other data structures also. Okay. So you have something called as data frame. Then you have something called dictionary. Okay. So their format will be different. But each of these data structure will store values, will store information. Okay. Or at least you can understand all these things. So what you need to do, you have to rewrite all these by yourself and you'll have to execute. Okay. So then you will have some basic knowledge about all these things. Okay. So that is enough for you to work on any data science application. Okay. You don't have to do explicit or extensive coding. Okay. So that is not required. So basic things is enough. Okay. What I would do, what I would advise. So whatever we are discussing here, just go and practice, and that is sufficient in order to understand what we do in the future as well. Okay. So because like whatever I'm going to develop in future, that is not going to involve heavy coding. Okay. Some it is going to involve like something which is very simple, which is simple to implement. For that, if you understand basics, that is enough.
Mm.
Okay.
Understood, sir.
Yes. So what I will do. So week two is concluded. I will send you the recordings. Maybe at the end of the day, you take a look
Okay.
whenever you are free. Along with this, I will give you the activity. I need to discuss that particular activity with Kirtana also. So I'm just going to share the recordings today, and maybe in the next class, I will discuss about that particular activity.
Okay.
Okay. So if you don't have any doubts, then we can wind up, and we will meet on the coming Tuesday.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So do you have anything to tell or anything to ask?
No, sir.
Okay. So if that is the case, then please continue, Siddharth.
Thank you.
We
Thank
will,
you, sir.
yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir.